Dave Scott here from the Norfolk Hub. Today I'm joined by one of my favorite authors, Janet Hepburn, and her book, Flee, Fly, Flown. Janet, can you talk a little bit about the book? Give us a little bit of insight to start.
Yes. Flee, Fly, Flown is about two elderly women in the nursing home. They have mid-stage Alzheimer's, so some days they're good, some days not so good. And they decide that they want to go on a vacation. So they plot and plan, and they escape from the nursing home, and they go on a bit of a road trip. So the book is it's a road trip book.
And where did all this start? I mean, I know that there's some family history here that maybe you can share with the audience about why this was so important to you and where you gathered this information.
Okay. My mom had Alzheimer's, and she lived with Alzheimer's for about a decade, a little more than a decade. And so I had lots of opportunity to observe, listen, watch, sympathize with what she was going through. And so the last part of her illness she spent in the nursing home. So there again, I got to watch her and others, because a lot of people in the nursing home these days do have Alzheimer's. So anyway, to watch her and how they related with each other, and just to sort of hope and plan that maybe she could someday not have to be in that environment.
Did you find when you were writing this novel, did it help you personally? Like you said, with your mom dealing with this affliction, was that you letting go of some stuff? How did that affect you personally?
Yeah, I think that did allow me to let go of some things. It allowed me to give her the freedom that she didn't have through the story. It allowed me to share with other people what a great woman she was, because there were a lot of Lillian's characteristics are my mom's characteristics. She was pretty feisty, and I loved how one thing that Alzheimer's did that was good, I thought, for her was to let her release a lot of her inhibitions. So you see Lillian in the story is quite a bit more of a risk taker than Mom was. And also she would swear and be just say what she wanted to say, which was some things that my mom would never do. So it did allow me to get rid of some of those sadnesses that I had for my mom. Yeah.
And the books did really well. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, did you expect the success?
I did not. I thought it would be just this quiet little book that I would share with my family and friends. And right off the top, the iBookstore named it. So it came out March 2013, and in June, iBookstore gave it one of the top 10 books to read that summer, which was amazing. And then later that year, they named it one of the, I guess, I forget what the title was actually, just one of the top books of 2013. So that was amazing. And then Ontario Library Association named it one of 10 of the Evergreen Award. There were 10 Evergreen Award nominations, and it was one of them. So that was great. That sort of went a whole year. And now it's Lanark County's One Book, One Community. So it just keeps going.
It just keeps has life of its own. I'm
excited about that, yeah.
Explain a little bit about the process, too, when you started. How long does it take to actually sit down and put this together? This is an amazing accomplishment.
Oh, thank you. I think some people are much faster at this than I was. This was my first book. It took me 4 years from start to finish. Wow. Just from coming up with the idea to having it on the bookshelves. It was 4 years.
And you told me once, I remember we had a conversation, I think it was probably a year or two ago, about just developing the characters. Like, you really have to go systematically through that, don't you?
Yes, I did. That was a process. I wrote the book the first time, and I sent it to my mentor, Erica de Vasconcelos, and she read and said, you really have to develop the characters more. They're just too nice. They need to be nastier and a little more complex. And so I sat down with big sheets of paper, Lillian, Audrey, Rain, and just wrote out everything about that character that I could think of. A lot of it didn't end up in the book, but it helped me to realize who those characters were. When the situation would arise, I would be able to assess how they would react to that. And that was really helpful for me.
And nowadays, if folks want to pick up your book, where can they get it?
They can get it at Chapters at Indigo, any of the main bookstores, some independent bookstores. They can get it online. If they read ebooks, they can get it from Amazon or Chapters, from the publisher or from me.
And I guess the last question is, what's next?
What's next? I'm working on a poetry manuscript right now. I know sometimes people's eyes just glaze over when you say poetry, but for me it's exciting. I love poetry, and there is a market out there. I'm convinced.
And that's where you started, really, wasn't it? I remember
It is, yes.
you did quite a bit over the years.
Yeah.
Is there a novel down the road, do you think? Or are you waiting to see where it...
Yes, I am going to start a novel fairly soon. I've got some ideas in mind. Yes.
Well, thanks for coming over today and sharing with us your book. It's Flee, Fly, Flown. Author Janet Hepburn. Check it out online and enjoy. It is a wonderful book. My whole family's read it and we all loved it.